make sure that you set up an appointment funnel for your webinar and offer them a shortcut. So you're promoting a webinar, and whatever it is, how to generate leads with local service ads, how to get ranked on page 1, whatever it is, they're going to register for the webinar. And the #1 strategy to generate sales and leads from a webinar for us isn't the live webinar. It's not even the recording of the webinar. It's the page that they get to right after they register for a webinar. Believe it or not. If that page says, hey, thanks for registering for the webinar, it's awesome, you're going to get great insights. But if you're like most plumbing and HVAC contractors, like you want to be on the cutting edge, you want to understand what's going on, but at the end of the day, you just want someone that can implement this for you, somebody that understands how to make it work. And if that's you, I want to offer you the opportunity for us to sit down one-on-one. We'll look at your business, we'll look at what you have in place, and we'll show you how we can implement this for you. And you take them straight from registering to the webinar to scheduling an appointment. When we started doing that, the amount of sales we got from our webinars, like 10x'd. Because the fact is, most people register for webinars but never sit on the webinar. They want to watch the replay, but they never watch the replay. So you've got their undivided attention right at that moment in time when they express interest that you can move them to an appointment. So this is the hack. This is a very, very cool hack to get people to schedule appointments right out of the gates. I don't even, this is just an example of we ran a webinar. You can't see it, so just take my word for it. A bunch of people filled out the pre-registration form and scheduled the webinar. So here's the big thing. I see a lot of people like, oh yeah, webinars, I would love to do webinars, but I don't like the way I look on camera, or I don't think I'm smart enough to say something intelligent, or I don't think my slides are going to look right, and so we don't ever do the webinar. We spend a ton of time trying to have the perfect webinar, when the reality is most people don't attend the webinar. When was the last time you sat on a webinar? You, all right, so you're most people don't, right? They register for webinars. There's so many webinars out there. There's so much information being peppered. You watched the replay. You weren't on the live.
I was not. No.
Your best prospects, the people running million-dollar businesses, are busy. They've got employees. They've got payroll. They've got all kinds of things going on. They're type A people that are really making quick decisions and moving quickly. They will register for webinars, but they will rarely sit on a webinar. So the key insight is the webinar itself isn't that big of a deal. It's the promotion of the webinar. It's coming up with an interesting topic, promoting it on a consistent basis, getting people to say, hey, I want to know about that, and then shortcutting them straight to an appointment. Does that make sense for everybody? So when it comes to promoting the webinar for maximum impact, again, you want to do email, but don't stop there. If you have the opportunity to send social posts to invite people, that's great. If you can run a promoted post, especially to people on your retargeted or targeted list, that way they know about it, you can create a sense of omnipresence in your prospects' world. So you've got this database of people that you're marketing to, right? You're in their inbox because you're emailing them about the webinar that's coming up in the replay. You're sending them, they're seeing you because they like your page on social media. Maybe they get a social message from you or a VA as you. And then they're seeing your ad on Facebook about this webinar. And it feels like, man, this guy or this gal or this company is everywhere. And it's really just because you're doing one webinar and you're promoting it in a strategic way that it really gives you top of mind awareness. So there's lots of things you can do webinars about. Just think about the information that you have. You guys are all students of the game. If you're at a conference like this or a session like this, you're always learning new things about internet marketing, social media. Like, you're a student of the game. Just take all of that general information and apply it to your niche. You learn a cool new thing about chatbots. You create a webinar or a piece of content about chatbots for that niche, right? Just take all of that content and apply it. I will say, again, a shameless plug for the 7-Figure Agency membership and mastermind. Like, we give you Swipe and Deploy, if you're a member, all of our presentations. So it's literally, these are the presentations that work for us. These are the promotional contents. These are the follow-up sequences. These are the Facebook ads that we run. And it's completely Swipe and Deploy. So you want to make sure you follow up effectively. So don't just do the webinar, call it a day. You're going to do the webinar, post the replay, send an email or two. Hey, I did this webinar. Go here and consume it. If you've got capacity, right, and you were cold calling or you're doing a bunch of cold outreach, no reason you can't call everybody that registered for the webinar. Like, these are pretty warm people. They registered, get them on the phone, have a conversation. And then, of course, syndicate, right? And I've kind of talked about that ad nauseum. There's lots of ways to syndicate. There's a whole check sheet inside your workbooks on how to syndicate. And then rinse and repeat. Roll out new webinars on a consistent basis, promote them, syndicate. This is the best shortcut to nurture your database, position yourself as the expert, and be putting out new content on a consistent basis that makes you prolific in pretty much any niche. Next steps. This is really what I want to do before we close for lunch. Commit to monthly webinars, and I want you to map out your next 3 worth of webinars. So over the next 3 months, what are 3 webinars that you can and will conduct? And then I want you to block a date in your schedule. There's 2 types of learning. How many types of learning? 2. So everybody's like tired and ready for lunch. 2 types. There's just-in-case learning, and then there's just-in-time learning. Just-in-case learning is the worst thing you can do. That's like, okay, Josh taught me about webinars, and I'm going to learn how do I run a webinar and how do I promote a webinar, and I'm going to learn about it just in case someday in the future I do a webinar. How many of you guys have done just in case and never did anything? All of us, myself included. And then there's just-in-time learning. And that's what you should move everything you do to. Just-in-time learning is, I've got a webinar scheduled for February 17th. It's in my calendar, right? I've blocked it. Now, I need to make sure I get some emails out, and I've got the webinar coming up, so I better set up my slides, and I've got people registered for this webinar, so I better get myself ready to do a webinar. And then you hustle, and you just in time, just before the webinar, you know what you're doing, and you kind of pull it off. If you can get yourself into just-in-time learning, you'll move everything in your business faster. That's the theme of this event. It's acceleration. So, just in time. Just in time. So I want you guys to pick 3 webinars, block a date in your schedule right now. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I promise you, this is an extremely powerful thing. If you can get yourself off the blocks and actually do it, it will move your business forward. Well, I hope you got great value from that video. If you'd like more ideas, strategies, and techniques on how to really grow and scale your digital marketing agency, I'd like to invite you to join me. I run a free group on Facebook called Local Marketing Agency Success. And there I just shared my best ideas and strategies on how to land clients on a consistent basis, how to serve them and really knock it out of the park for them, and how to retain your clients at the highest level possible. So would love to have you join us there. To get there, you can just type in sevenfigureagency.com/group. That's sevenfigureagency.com/group. It'll take you to the Facebook group, and I'll get you added right away. Look forward to seeing you in there. Talk to you soon.